Good evening. It's Thursday and it's time for Call of the Wild Outdoors Live. And it is Thursday, October 26th, 2023. And I have the updated fishing report. Last updated as of about 8 a.m. this morning. It's going to be a little different this week. I am including the thumb area all the way down to Lake Erie this week, just because the fishing's pretty good down there. And I want everybody to know about it. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Excuse my appearance. I got a lot of paint overspray all over me. I was painting a old trailer today and at work, and it's a box trailer, and I got black spray paint everywhere. So had to spray paint it indoors because it's just pouring down rain up here. So if I look like I got black streaks all over me, that's where it's coming from. Yeah, the wind ain't been too much of an issue up here for me. It's pour down, never-ending rain during daylight hours. I haven't been able to get out bow hunting, so I've been working instead. The job I have right now, I can work whatever hours I want. Hi, Charles. How you doing? So if the weather's good, I can work after dark all through the night if I want to until, 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, but weather's just been so lousy. I've just been running normal hours. I mean, they got flooding up here, for crying out loud. Trying to get the boat out. Yeah, I got to get mine out this weekend. Well, I'm hoping to. The truck I had use of kind of fell through. It needs some more repairs, and mine's still down with the brake lines. I haven't been able to get out and do them just because of the rain. So then I still got to start that 14-foot aluminum boat. I'm running out of time to get that done, but that should only take a few hours once I get to it. But has anybody been out bow hunting this week? I know I had a weird thing happen to me the other day. I've had ground scrapes materialize overnight that I've found in the morning, either from up in my stand. I've seen them once it got daylight, or stepped over them walking out. But I was up in my stand, and it was one of those mornings. Hi, Bill. Just as it's starting to get light, it was so quiet you could hear a flea fart at 50 yards. And I started hearing what was either turkeys or something digging. Probably about 100, 150 yards away is what I pictured in my mind. And then I heard some turkeys flying out of the tree. Now, mind you, I was facing south at that time. The pawing was coming from northeast of me, and the turkeys flew out of the tree northwest of me. Well, I figured, okay, a hen got down on the ground, because I'm hearing turkeys flying out of trees all the time. She got down on the ground and got the other ones to come to her, and that's what I wrote it off as, until I left my stand a couple hours later due to it started raining. A buck came in right on the trail I walk in and started a new ground scrape about 125, 130 yards from me. So I ended up turning my stand around. I'm facing the opposite direction. I moved it into the woods about 30 yards more, but I need to move it again. I want to move it another 100 yards in. That the woods that I'm hunting, it's kind of making like a point, and on each side of the point is an old clear cut, and the trees. It's perfect grouse and woodcock habitat. They're about 6, 8 feet tall, so you know the deer are bedding down in there. But the problem is I'm only about 80, 75 to 80 yards wide there. And they're just not coming through enough. There's signs where they're coming through, but they're not stopping to feed. But if I move 100 yards to the north, there's a lot more sign of them feeding and moving through to these transition zones. So I'm going to move another 100 yards in. And that'll also put me just about in line and about 80 yards away from the ground scrape that I came across. And I did find another ground scrape when I walked through the woods the other night. So I had to leave my stand early the other night, so I decided to walk through the woods instead of walking the trail. I didn't want to upset that ground scrape any more than I needed to. And the reason I left my stand is we started having some thunder and lightning coming in, and I didn't want to be out there in a ladder stand, being a big old lightning rod out there. I'm one of them people that has to live by Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will. So I got the heck out of the tree and left about, probably 45 minutes to an hour early. But I discovered some cool stuff. So, and I did come across another fresh scrape. So he's got a regular scrape line going on in there. We'll see if I can catch him. Or the first doe that walks by. I'm a meat hunter. I'm not looking for antlers. I got into an argument the other night with a guy who's all for these antler point restrictions, and I says, well, I guess if you need antler point restrictions in order to score a big buck, that's what needs to happen. But I'm a meat hunter, and I passed up on big bucks all my life to take the spike or the 4-point that always follows them. And you got one of two scenarios happening. Hi, Pat. You're either going to have the spikes and 4s come in first and act all studly. They'll rub their antlers up against branches and everything else, and all of a sudden they'll scurry off for no reason. And that's a big buck coming in. They're either always ahead of them or they follow them. Once we get closer to the rut, they'll be following them. I'll guarantee it. I mean, I was hunting a stand from 1983 to about 2006. Never sat in that stand and didn't see deer. As a matter of fact, I took my first bow kill out of that stand at 65 yards. And it's not a stand for bow hunting. You're up on top of a hill. I always face to the west, which is toward a row of pine trees, but I'm sitting in the oaks, and the deer run the valleys in between heavy covers, and they feed out in there. Well, anyways, I seen what people would call trophy bucks every single year, and 3 out of 5 times sitting in that stand, I seen these same big bucks. Always had a spike behind them. Always. Especially once the rut gets into the full swing. The bucks are getting goofy out there, though. I'll tell you that right now. I'm seeing that on the roads running at night and everything else, come back and forth to work. So if you have a doe across the road in front of you running, start slowing down, because that buck could be anywhere from 60 to 100 yards out. He don't stop. He's got his nose to the ground and coming right across the road. Just so you know. And you're right, Mark. You can't eat the antlers. But this guy that was all for the APR requirements, he's one of them guys that's probably afraid of the dark, waits until 5-10 minutes after shooting hours, or until it's a little lighter even, to walk out into the woods, won't get more than 25 feet from his truck. And I realize there's no baiting now, but when I notice these guys first starting, they dump truck load of bait out there, and they sit 25 feet from their truck, and they want to shoot what they call a trophy deer so they can brag to their friends. And right now in Michigan, pretty much what we have is a shooting preserve in most counties that have the antler point restrictions. That's basically what it is. It's not natural. Anytime they restrict deer from wising up, it's not natural. I'm sure everybody out there's had button bucks come up to them and paw the ground, stare them down, and I mean get really close. I had a button buck actually physically make me get up and leave my spot one time because he wouldn't leave. The only thing I didn't do was shoot into a stump, which I probably should have done, but I was hunting in an area at the time that this would have been in the early 90s. They had open doe permit, or they had some doe permits for that area. I did not have one, but they had them. And I was hunting on a little slope. Two track was about 60 yards, 70 yards off to the south of me, which would have been to my left. And this button buck come up. I chased him, got up from my seat, chased him, turned around, walked back, and he followed me right back. He just wouldn't leave. And then I got this strange feeling that somebody was going to come walking down that two track that had a doe permit and shoot that deer, and he was directly between me and the two track, and no, that wasn't working for me, so I got up and left. 20 yards away. Yeah. You know, doe hunter, I had one time, this was during gun season, hunting in Lake County at the spot I used to hunt at, and I still go there once in a while and hunt, but I walked into my stand, and I always get out during gun season an hour before shooting hours. Now, my philosophy to that was, so many guys wait till 10 or 15 minutes before legal shooting hours to come out in the woods. I get into my spot, and I don't hunt next to roads generally. The night with the button buck, I just happened to walk out from the house and went across the two track. I was just out for about 45 minutes to an hour. But anyways, I get back in the woods and get to my spot, and usually I spook deer walking back there. I'm one of them guys that don't use a flashlight unless I absolutely have to. I know the way to my stand, especially that one, because I've been hunting it since 1983. Exactly, Bill. These guys coming in late, they push the deer right to me. I'm far enough away from them. The deer have calmed down. They don't have that big adrenaline push. They start feeding. I have yet to have to really shoot at a running target out there. I used to get my deer every year and then some, but because I'd have other people hunt my stand with me, and they'd get deer off my stand. My son got his first deer off my stand. The problem with that stand is, you know, and I say it's not a good bow hunting stand, even though I got my first bow kill off of it, is it's almost 100 yards just to the bottom of the hill. And I've only ever had one deer sneak in, and I still don't know how he got so close to me. He was 35 feet away when I shot him, but that was a nice little 4-point. But usually you can see the deer a long ways away. I've watched a doe, and I swear it was the same doe 3 years in a row. I'd get out to my stand for an evening hunt the first, 3-4 days of the season. I'd get out there about 2, and 3 o'clock, like clockwork, she'd come down off the other hill, straight out to the north of me, and stand there and feed. And I know my 30-30 could have made the shot, but there was enough tree branches between me and her, the little kind that are real hard to see, that I just didn't want to take that kind of a shot. But off that stand, like clockwork, I would drop deer at 225 yards with my 30-30. And I mean, drop them. They didn't run, nothing like that, but I neck shoot them, so there's a difference. And my son's first buck that he got, that was 180 yards. So 183 to be exact. But it's just was a perfect spot to hunt until the Forest Service got in there and cut down a lot of the trees and really screwed it up. There's still deer in there, but it's not like it used to be. They just don't have the cover they used to have. But I'll tell you what, them are some good eating deer down there. They're all acorn bucks. These ones up here in Benzie County. Now I did find one oak tree out there, a semi little one, and so I got hopes, but it's mostly beech nut, and the deer are not as tender, and they definitely have a gamier taste to them. And I've killed quite a few deer up here in Benzie County, and they're not the same as them Acorn bucks. There is a difference. How's the rain over here? Horrendous, non-stop. My garage is flooded, and I haven't been able to get out bow hunting in quite a few days now. So I'm hoping to get out possibly tomorrow afternoon. Saturday it's not supposed to rain, but I gotta get, if I can get a hold of a truck, I gotta get that boat out of the water and down to my brother's for storage after winterizing it. Now the last time I was out bow hunting, I flushed 4 partridge walking out, 2 more walking back in from a different place, and then I closed the trunk of my car, and there was one 20 feet up from the car that flushed out. So that was good to see in my deer hunting area, because normally where there's partridge, there's going to be lots of deer. 4+ inches in the last 2 days. I don't know what we've had in terms of inches, but it's been a lot of rain. Yeah, no, I'm gonna focus on the bow hunting. I always carry an orange hat with me. If I see some partridge on the ground coming my way, I'll put the orange hat on, and I'll take one with the bow. I usually get lots of squirrels and partridge from my hunting stand. They got to be 100 yards out for me to see them, so that I can put my hat on. Because I think any closer than that, they're going to say you're hunting without orange, and I just don't want to take that chance. Because legally, even though you're hunting with a bow, if you're hunting small game, you got to have orange on. I do got an orange camouflage hat that I got to dig up. That'll work, because deer don't see orange like people think they do. And as long as it's a hat, I can control the movements with my head and stuff like that. Because once it gets cold, I'll be out there in my camouflage orange hunting suit anyways, because I just don't have nothing real thick right now in regular camo. But then I'll be legal to pop them. Now, I've seen quite a few squirrels this year, but I haven't drawn up on any yet. I just haven't wanted to make that much ruckus in the woods. But normally I get 5-10 squirrels a year bow hunting. So. All right, well, let's do the fishing report, and then we'll get back to talking about hunting. I'm going to tell you right off the get-go, the west side of the state, all areas, boats didn't get out. The weather was just too cruddy. And guys just said, the heck with it. They did their hunting and whatnot, depending on where they were at. But we'll start out in St. Joe. Starts out, weather's been lousy all up the Michigan side of Lake Michigan. A few guys did make it out and reported a few fish being caught in 30 to 60 feet of water, trolling spoons, flies, and plugs, glows, greens, and chromes. Plus there's a few steelhead in the mix. And then perch fishing is picked up for some of the guys. Others claim it's slow. They're using minnows. Hey, Caden. Best thing to do down there is they're finding 20 feet of water and just kind of drifting around until they find a school, which is pretty much happening anywhere there's perch action right now. They're drifting around, find a school, they anchor, they catch them until they're gone, and then they pull up the anchor, drift until they find them. Okay, have a good one, Pat. South Haven. No boat reports for salmon at all down there. However, a few caught some nice perch in 18 to 35 feet of water using minnows. So, they got out. Grand Haven, pier fishing is fair with a steelhead, or with steelhead. Try spoons, spawn, or skein. No reports in Grand Haven for perch. Muskegon, lousy weather has kept a few boats from getting out. Pier fishing for steelhead is slow, but they're using spawn, skein, and spoons to try. And a few guys are getting some. Ludington, no boats getting out. River fishing slowing down. There's still a few fishing, but it is the end of the 2023 run, and that's pretty much the case all up the west side. The run's about over. Down south, Grand Haven, South Haven, you might find some fish still, but now if you want fish, you're pretty much going out and catching the immatures. You know, like in Frankfort, there's a few coho still hanging around the pier heads. Not sure what's holding them up from running the river, but you know, after this rain, who knows. Manistee, again, no boats out. River fishing, the river's still holding fish, but it ain't gonna be for much longer. They're really getting dark. There's a few fresh coho coming in there, but the numbers that are coming in ain't really enough to say, okay, I'm going up north for the weekend and going coho fishing. There's just, I mean, if you want to catch some zombies, there's plenty of fish in the river for that, but a lot of them ain't going to be considered edible, just so that everybody's aware. The steelhead fishing has picked up, though. And that goes from the pier heads, the beaches, all the way up to Tippy Dam, there's steelhead. So you do have that. Frankfort, Betsy River has some steelhead in it. Anglers braving the waves fishing the pier are also landing a few steelhead. They're using spoons, spawn, and skein. And like I said, a few coho are still hanging around as well. And no reports of whitefish. There's no reports of whitefish in Ludington or Manistee either. East Grand Traverse Bay. Guys are trolling for Cisco's. And they're getting limits to near limits, trolling small spoons and spinners. There's a few guys jigging that are also getting Cisco's, and they're using pretty much a gold Swedish pimple that's about 2 inches long. West Grand Traverse Bay, fishing toward the southwest part of the bay, is producing Cisco's for those trolling small spoons and spinners. A few guys are jigging gold Swedish pimples and also getting a few. And then some guys are getting some nice perch off the yacht club and out in front of the Elmwood Marina using minnows. Petoskey area, Bear Creek is about done for salmon, but there are a few steelies moving in. Spawn skein and casting spoons is what they're doing there. Sheboygan River, a few salmon are still in the river, but again, they're very dark. Spawn and cranks are working best. The run is about done here as well. However, there are some steelies moving in. I've got reports of small fish and I've got reports of good sized fish, so a nice little mix there. Alpena, weather has been not good, so only a handful of guys were getting out. The walleye are slow. A few perch are being caught from boats and from shore using minnows and worms. And a few guys are catching walleye after dark and off the piers. They're casting crankbaits, night crawlers, and the locals are expecting steelhead, coho, and Atlantics to make an appearance in the harbor at any moment. So that run basically hasn't quite started yet for that area. And I guess the Atlantics are running late because that's pretty much the rest of the report is Atlantics. So, Thunder Bay River, guys are catching Atlantics using spoons, spinners, and spawn. Colors are oranges, chromes, blues, greens, and a few kings and coho are present. But it's the end of the run there. And there's a few steelies also showing up. Oscoda, kings, cohos, Atlantics, and steelhead all are reported in the river all the way up to Foot Dam. Spoon spinners and spawns seem to be working the best. Guys are catching walleye in the evenings after they get in from bow hunting throughout the night. That action is taking place near the mouth of the river. Saginaw Bay. Guys are getting perch in the old shipping channel, and guys are getting limits of walleye in the lower parts of the Saginaw River. Harbor Beach. The harbor is still holding coho. Guys are casting spoon spinners and some spawn to get them. Port Sanilac. Guys fishing salmon are not doing that great, but they are getting a few steelies using spoons and waxworms. Lexington. Now this is inside the harbor in Lexington. There's a large amount of Atlantic salmon in the harbor. Guys are casting spoon spinners, and they're also using jigs. So they're sitting on the docks and jigging them. Guys are also catching a few steelies using bobbers and waxworms. Okay, St. Clair River. Guys are chugging up some walleye from Port Huron down to Algonac using piggyback pencil plugs, Rapellas, and crawler harnesses. Lake St. Clair. Guys are getting walleye in 14 feet of water using harnesses near the channels and a few off and around the spillway. If you know where the spillway is, it's before you get to 16 Mile Road. It connects to the Clinton River, but they usually get a good walleye run in the spring too. They're also getting some good perch in 12 to 14 feet of water in front of the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club and in the dumping grounds. Guys casting floating minnow baits and reeling super duper slow, and I've talked about this before. It's agonizingly, annoyingly slow. You just crank, 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 just enough to make the minnow move just a little bit, and they're getting walleye at night off of the piers. So you got 9 Mile Pier, you got Martin Road Pier. I'm not sure if Martin Road Pier is still open to fishing or not. That property is privately owned. There was a architectural drafting type business there, and if you go there during the day, if it's still there, I'm sure they'll give you permission to fish at night. They're going to close the gate, but you can usually walk in from the Bruce Post to get to that pier. And then you got 13 Mile Road Pier as well. Detroit River. It's a little slow for walleye in the river, but fish are there. Try harnesses and a slower troll. Instead of doing your 1.8, 1.9, kick her down 1.5 to 1.7. And fish are being lazy. And then there's a few perch being caught by gross eel using minnows and crawlers. Lake Erie, a few walleye are being caught on artificials and harnesses in 17 feet of water all the way out to Breast Bay area. And a few perch are also being caught in deeper waters, 20 feet, and that's due to the weather. Minnows and crawlers seem to be about the best for those. So what they're doing, the perch have moved out a little bit deeper. They just don't like the turbulence. And you know, water temperatures changing drastically. They're following the minnows. Let's see. Prepare to search for those fish, and once found, anchor till they move. You know, it's that anchor and chase time of year. Everybody's familiar with it if you fish perch. Little Bay to Knot. Guys are getting good numbers of perch, drifting perch rigs with minnows and night crawlers. And they're also getting a few bonus walleye fishing that way. The guys that are targeting walleye are doing fair trolling harnesses and a few worm-tipped flatfish. So they're using I believe it's a number 7 flatfish. It's got a single treble hook on it. And they're putting a little piece of broken worm or something on it. And you hook that up the same way you do your crawler harness. You got your 2-ounce weight, and then bring it up about 12 inches with a 3-way swivel, 36-inch lead. Good to go. You can troll those with the crawler harnesses all day long, and that becomes a very hot item down at Lake St. Clair. I know there's days that harnesses won't catch them, but them flatfish will. They're also doing the anchor and chase up there as well. Big Bay to Knot. Guys are getting some limits of really nice perch using perch rigs with minnows. Drifting till you find them fish, then anchor, or finding a nice weed bed that's holding some fish. Now, Marquette area, all the way across, there's reports of salmon in the rivers. Mostly coho right now, and a few Atlantics. Pink salmon, as you get into the St. Mary's River, are almost non-existent. I haven't gotten anybody that's caught a pink salmon yet in the last 2 weeks. So And then the lake trout along Lake Superior as well. Those are all hot. But the coho are making their appearances at pretty much every port, as well as the steelhead. And that's our fishing report for this week. Not the greatest, not the worst. I will say some inland lakes are producing some nice perch. Burt Lake, the guys are getting a few perch. Higgins Lake, they're getting some perch. And Lake Otsego. I haven't heard about any other inland lakes producing right now. Those are just the ones that I've heard about. My contacts are kind of limited to inland, and some of the contacts that I have, they ask me to please don't put the fishing report on. They're just letting me know in case I want to come over and fish. So, and you know, I always, if somebody tells me not to say something, I don't say nothing. Now, if I got two people telling me about an area, that's different. But that's just the way I do things. Now, weather report's calling for snow up here the 30th and the 31st, up to an inch each day. Of course, it's not probably going to stay very long. Areas just around Cadillac inland, it'll probably stay a little bit longer. I'm kind of hoping that if we get some snow at night, that it's there in the morning for a couple of hours when I'm out bow hunting. But I'm not gonna count on that. But it would be nice, especially a spot I'm hunting. I can take a picture of it with my camera and it looks like it's wide open, but it's really not. Where I'm at right now, I've got maybe 8 places I could pull off a shot in a 360 degree view. But take a video of it or take a picture of it, and it just looks like I'm just sitting in a tree in the middle of nowhere. Nothing around, but nope, them little trees are there. And then little branches and falling down stuff, and I almost wish I could watch for deer through the camera all the time, because it'd be a heck of a lot clearer. But it is looking like it's going to be a good deer season this year. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of activity, not just out in the woods, but driving the roads right now in the evenings. You know, it's that time of year. And we're gonna be dealing with this now until about Thanksgiving. So the car deer accidents are gonna climb because, like I said, the bucks are chasing does. Does ain't dealing with it right now. They're just running from them. But any time now, they'll start getting, some of them older does will start getting receptive. So. I'm sure some of you guys are in areas that have a high buck population. You know, you're probably hearing antlers clanking and stuff from them dueling. Now, I'm thinking about having a little giveaway here. And it's basically going to be open to subscribers who have the alert turned on. Because what I'll do is I will get online, and it will always be after 7 p.m. Okay, just so that everybody knows, and before 10. And what I will do is I will get online and make a little announcement and ask a question. It won't be hard to answer. And the first person that responds to that will get the prize. So you're going to want alerts on if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you're not going to see it unless you happen to get lucky and happen to refresh at the time it pops up. but it'll be for fishing lures and stuff like that. So, and then I'm still going to have a giveaway for 500 subscribers, and then for the 1,000 subscribers, if I ever get that high, I'm going to be giving away either a rod and reel combo, which is an open face spinning reel and a rod, or a nice trolling reel, a 4000 series trolling reel. That'll be at 1,000 subscribers. Once I get close to that, I'll announce how I'll determine the winner. So if you haven't subscribed, I'm going to start doing these giveaways. It's going to start out, every couple of weeks or so, but it might go to weekly. We'll just see. We'll just see how it works out. And if you haven't liked the stream yet, please hit the like button. It lets more people see it. I am trying to get more subscribers right now. And then I know it's been a few weeks since I've posted a video. Believe me, I've tried to make one. I thought I had my camera on when I had that big doe coming in, and it didn't turn on. That's the first time I ever wore a camera on my head, though, so it's kind of my own fault. I had tested it, and it didn't have a problem. Well, I didn't reach up and hit it hard enough, apparently, when the deer came in. But I'm working on that issue. I picked up a new bow. It's a Killer Instinct Lethal 405, and I'm looking for ways to attach a camera right to that as well. So right now it's still going to be on my head. And then once I get to work on that 14-foot aluminum boat, I'll videotape periodically the progress that it makes and make a video of that. That shouldn't take real long to do. I'm basically replacing the transom wood on it. The stuff that was on it basically just rotted, and it actually fell off on me. It's sitting inside the boat right now, and then all my mounts for my downriggers finally rotted out and everything else. I originally had that boat set up with 2 downriggers, the fish finder. The battery was sitting up front. I closed off the area between the front 2 seats on it and had a hinge door, and we could keep our salmon in there so that I didn't have to sit and beat up on the fish in the bottom of the boat so they weren't flopping around, and throw them up there, and it was safe. Tactacam mounts on a scope, huh? That's sweet. Oh, on the scope rail, excuse me, my bad. I'd love to get one of them scopes that has a camera built into it. I've seen them, I just haven't, I've seen them advertised, I haven't seen them for sale yet. I know I'm probably going to be getting a new scope for that crossbow that I have, one with illuminated reticles in it. But that'll be for next year, not for this year. Because I've only got a couple weeks of bow hunting left for me, and then I'm going to switching over to saltwater fishing. I may come back in December and bow hunt a little bit when I'm here, but because I know I got to come back in December at some point, but just depends on what's all going on. And I'll still be doing the Michigan fishing reports, even from Florida. The difference is I'll include some Florida fishing reports as well. I know not everybody can go down there saltwater fishing or anything, but I think it'll be neat. You'll be able to see that freshwater tactics or ideas the way we fish here still work in saltwater. It's really nothing special. Certain types of fishing, like shore fishing, use a lot more weight to get it out there. And because of the possibility of catching the various sharks and stuff, you run a little bit heavier line, but all in all, it's a lot of fun. Caden knows what it's like to shore fish. He did some surf fishing last year. Matter of fact, he got a bluefish. Yeah, it was his first saltwater fish. So, and then from there we went down to the Matanzas River to a public access down there and proceeded to catch all different kinds of fish. He even got one I've never caught yet, and it's a different sea trout species. I'm used to catching the spotted sea trout that get big. One he caught don't get real big, but boy, do they have some big teeth in them. I forget which one it was now. I'd have to look it up. Yep, it's a lot of fun. You put a bait in, and I fish with basically 3 different baits. I fish with either cut squid, cut bait, which is usually mullet, or shrimp. And I've used some live shrimp, but a lot of times, we're just going fishing for a couple of hours, so we buy the frozen stuff. I have seen absolutely no difference, because I've been out there fishing frozen shrimp and freshwater and fresh live shrimp at the same time. Absolutely no difference in what they catch. Now, there might be areas where it makes a difference, but it don't. Now, there is going to be a new bait I'm going to try this year. I'm getting a sand rake, what they call, and it's for digging sand fleas, which are horribly ugly looking little bugs, but the pompano love them, and that's free bait. You just catch it at the water line. I'll demonstrate how to catch that once I get into it, and how to hook them and use them for bait. Everything bites those things. It's just that the pompano really go nuts over them, I guess. But the nice thing about saltwater fishing, you never know what you're going to catch. Yeah, they're disgusting little things. They look just like a flea, but they're the size of a quarter around, and they're ugly. But the fish love them. And from what I've been told, they don't bite or anything like that, but they're just disgusting looking. And then got into some, what the hell they call those? Pinfish. There's hermit crabs down there, especially, I took my dad, he's got a place in Rockport. He lives with my brother, but he's got a place in Rockport. And I took him fishing out to Mustang Island. And we stopped at one of the little roadside public access. There's so much public access down in Texas and Florida, it's ridiculous. But stopped there on the intercoastal waterway area there. And every shell out there is crawling around. And it's all hermit crabs. And then I caught a hermit crab in Florida as well when me and Maddie were out fishing, and it played with him for a few minutes and let him go. He's a good sized hermit, but there is a crab out there. I think they call them ghost crabs. And when Caden, my grandson, and my son and his family were down there, we walked the beach off the hotel that they were on, and there was a crab that's about 3 inches across, I guess. I'll tell you what, them things will outrun you. That thing was fast, and it just scoots. We chased it down and finally got close to it, but I think my grandson actually caught it. But yeah, real fast. And we just ran him until he was tired, basically. And then you got the blue crabs, which have attitude. Um, they think they're a lot tougher and bigger than they actually are. And they're bait stealers. But these pinfish that we got into one day, they're basically the bluegill of saltwater. And yeah, I put a squid tentacle on a hook, and when I go to put it away for the night, I'm using pliers to get this thing off the hook. They just don't want to come off. Pinfish can peel it in the blink of an eye. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And they're real pretty fish. They're colorful like a bluegill, kind of shaped like a bluegill, but they're saltwater and they run in big schools. And when you got them around, you're not keeping bait on the hook for more than 10 or 15 seconds. If you don't hook them right away, and they have a real small mouth, but if you don't hook them, they're gone, and so is your bait. But they are good bait if you catch a few of them. I haven't used no live mullet. Yeah, I guess I did. Somebody gave me some live mullet one day on the pier, and I had it out there. I don't remember if I caught anything on it though. But I haven't bought no live mullet to use as bait. That's the other thing down there when you're fishing. There's other guys on the pier. They're going to give you 90% of them are going to give you their bait when they're leaving. Or you still fishing for a while? Yeah, here, have some bait. You know, so they're really nice down there. You know, and if they're catching a bunch of fish and you're catching nothing, and you say, hey, you know, I see you catching all kinds of fish. You mind telling me what you? Oh, no. Well, this is how you hook up, and they're ready to tell you how to fish. They got no problems with that, which sometimes can be helpful. Every area is different, but the assortment of fish that you catch is just phenomenal. The one day me and Maddie were fishing down in the Matanzas River, we caught 16 different species of fish in about 4 hours, all using the same bait. Now, see, that would be something I would love to do, is a charter that far out. I've all my fishing's been from shore. I am taking a 14-foot aluminum boat down this year, and I got to do some checking because I'm not sure if I've got to buy a different license or if my friend Maddie has to buy a different license to be in a boat, or maybe both of us, but I'll have to have that upgrade. I already have the shark permit because I passed the shark course. That's an online course and that was free. But we're just gonna fish the intercoastal waterway with the boat. The boat ain't big enough to take out onto the ocean. I ain't got that kind of hair on my behind, but we can get into them tight little bayous and stuff like that. Get into redfish, sea trout, maybe get some. Oh God, what's the name of them? Oh, we're gonna set blue crab traps for sure, and some shrimp. I can't think of the name of that fish now. It's like a halibut, but it's way smaller. Flounder. And because the fishing for them is real good when you get into like muddy areas. I love that stuff. And we can get away from the public access sites and maybe get close to some dolphins and whatnot. But 100 miles out in the Gulf would be awesome. Bet you got into some really good fish out there. Now they do have the spiny lobsters down there too. I'll be down there at the right time of year to fish for them. You dive for them basically. That and scallops, and it's on the to-do list, but we don't know if we're going to be able to do it or not. It should depend on water temperatures and stuff. Because I could definitely handle the water temperature down there. You know, when they're freezing on the beach, and I was shore fishing, I was getting into my up to my knees out there, and that water I thought was warm, and they just thought it was just bitter cold. I think the water was 65 to 68 degrees. You know, I'm used to that type of water temperature, and then, you know, the guys up in the UP are going to be like, damn, you know, that's bath water, you know, if they're used to swimming in Lake Superior. So I don't think Lake Superior ever gets that warm. Amberjack, grouper, and snapper. Nice. Did you ever get into any cobia out there, or not really? See, this year I won't be doing it, but next year is a possibility. I'll be taking night moves down with me. And then I'll be going out onto the ocean because I want to catch some dolphin fish. Some people know them as mahi-mahi. And you got to go offshore for that. Night moves I can trailer easily, and it's stable enough to handle what the ocean's going to dish out on a decent day. Yep. I was down there getting sunburned. I was in t-shirt and jeans, literally getting fried and sweating. And my friend Maddie, she's wrapped in a blanket, freezing to death, and everybody else is running around in jackets. You could tell who was from the north. The one day I was fishing, I had a younger couple walk by, and the girl was in a bikini and the guy was in shorts, and they're just walking up the beach. But all the locals that were fishing, they're all in heavy jackets, almost Arctic parkas, and it's probably 74 degrees out. But it was sunny, and I know 74 don't sound like it'd be sunburn weather, but I'll tell you what, that's a different type of sun down there. It don't take much to burn you. But I always used to be, oh, I ain't swimming in salt water, I ain't being shark bait, but now it wouldn't bother me. I'm not worried about the sharks. I stand a better chance of probably getting hit by lightning than I do of getting attacked by a shark. Hey, Maddie. Yeah, you're cold-blooded anyways. You freeze in 80s. You seen me last year. I was sweating to death. She'd be wrapped up in a blanket sitting in front of her heater, and I'm in a t-shirt. Whiner. Yep, you should have seen me when I come out of work today. Paint from head to toe. That spray paint overspray. But turn that trailer into something nice now. It's got all new lights, new wires, new wood sides in front. Got one last little thing to do. The ramp on it is black. The ramp on it is at I call it grill cover, but it's that netting, that steel netting, and there's about 18 inches of it going all the way across the 6-foot ramp that's bent and bad, and I'm cutting that out, trimming it down, welding in a new piece. Yeah, black spray paint, and every time I blow my nose, it just looks black. I was dumb. I didn't wear a mask, but it's probably a good thing because I'd have a white thing here. Somebody'd mistake me for a deer. It's in the 60s today, but what is it? Next week we're going to be 26, 27 degrees most of the time at night. We're expecting snow, Devil's Night, and Halloween both, up to 1 inch. Yep. You're not a whole lot warmer than we are. I can tell you exactly what the temperature is here right now. Give me a second. Now you got my curiosity up. It was 62 earlier. It's 61 right now, and we're supposed to get down to right around 60. Now tomorrow our low is going to be 38. Sunday, Monday, 31. Tuesday, 29. But the highs Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the high is going to be 37, and Wednesday, 39. Oh my God, you have the air conditioner on and it's 71 degrees? Oh my God, I'm proud of you. You were making fun of me for having my air on a couple weeks ago. That's unlike you in 70s. Normally you're hugging your heater. Okay, and guys, if you're looking for fall colors, this is going to be the last weekend of it. We're losing leaves like mad right now. This rain's just tearing it up. The roads are completely covered with leaves. Got some good colors going on out there, though. Lots of reds and golds. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend other than hunt and fish, I got the colors going on. And don't forget to send me your pics and get on the trophy book on the website. I'll high of 34 there, so you're going to be a little bit colder than us. You're Wisconsin. You're always colder than us, except in the summertime. Summertime, you're way hotter than us. Okay, there's the link to the website. Maddie, he's in Wisconsin. That's not cold to them yet. I can remember being over in Fond du Lac for 2 weeks to go to Mercury Marine School, and the warmest it got was 14 degrees below zero. That was the warmest it got, and that was the first 2 weeks after January 1st. And I'd call home, which was, 70 miles as a crow flies, and we'd be 18 to 24 degrees. And then I can remember going over there in the springtime for one of my certification tests in April, very early April. We still had 3 feet of snow on the ground. And I got over there and about Escanaba areas where the weather really started to change. And I got down toward Green Bay area, and leaves on the trees, went through thunderstorms with tornado warnings and everything else. Their spring was already in full progress, and we still had snow on the ground here. Lake Michigan protects us in the summertime, keeps us a lot cooler, and then keeps us a little bit warmer in the wintertime, but we get a lot more snow. But, Maddie, they see a lot of hundreds over in Wisconsin that we just don't see here in Michigan. Yeah, now you're a wimp. Yeah, you just gotta get up here and get thick-blooded again. Get back to semi-normal people. Although, one thing I like about Florida is alligators. Can't wait to get down there and see my little buddy. Maybe I'll bring him a treat and bring him some White Castles. Probably do backflips for White Castles. Don't tell me he's not there, because as soon as I show up, yep, Allie the alligator. Exactly, Bill. We can always warm up. It's hard to cool down. Yeah, but I'm not there. How many times you see him when I was there? It's like he knew I was coming. No, he's just waiting for me to feed him. Like I said, I'll bring him some White Castles. That might actually be a good bait to use too, fishing White Castle hamburgers. Swim in the ocean. Go down to the shark bite capital of the world, right on the other side of the outlet from Daytona Beach. It kills me. Everybody talks about Daytona Beach and how good the swimming is, and it's literally less than 2 miles from Daytona Beach to the beach south of the end. And I can't remember the town, but it's the shark bite capital of the world. Now I'm curious. New Smyrna. Yep, Volusia County. Yep, it's literally, you can almost throw a stone from Daytona Beach to New Smyrna Beach. And I'm telling you, if there's sharks at New Smyrna Beach, and I've seen the video from drone footage, they're at Daytona Beach too. That's probably the video that made it so that I was willing to wade into the water. When I seen basically 100 people in the water and 400 sharks, and a lot of sharks within 2 or 3 feet of people, it was like, okay. And those weren't just sand sharks or bonnet head sharks. Those were tiger sharks and bull sharks. I know you just told me, but it didn't show up on my end until I went and did a search. There's a delay. I'm still trying to get used to the delay when I'm, from when I'm talking and everything else. I mean, I'm watching my video right now, and there's such a delay, it's ridiculous. I don't know if my voice comes across in a delay or not, but I'll bet you there's 8 to 12 seconds depending on the time, and my stream health is excellent right now. Oh, you'll see when I'm down there when I'm doing live shows from your kitchen table. Or live shows from out on the boat in the Intercoastal Waterway. So anyways, back to bow hunting, because we still got a couple the 2 best weeks of the year are coming up. Well, 2.5 to 3 actually, but yeah, I bet. I know, and I got to bring the metal detector down. Guys that are bow hunting, remember this time of year, bucks are moving late in the morning. Don't just stay in your stand till 9 o'clock. Especially if you're looking for a trophy. 10, 11, and then between 11 and 1 they move real good. Yeah. Bottle caps. Of course, we can always get out on the islands back there and some of them little coves off the Intercoastal Waterway, and who knows, we might find Blackbeard's treasure out there. And for you guys that have PWCs, personal watercrafts, Sea-Doos, Yamaha Wave Runners, the such, especially on the 2-strokes, you want to get those winterized. They don't all self-drain. Never assume that any of them self-drain. Pour some antifreeze through them. Sand gets up in there and traps water. And those machines can't handle much below 29 degrees for any length of time. They freeze real fast. So, alright, have a good night, Maddie. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Get those winterized. Like I said, especially the two strokes. Two strokes are horrible, but any of them can get sand trapped in there, and which traps water. If you got an IO and it's parked out back and you haven't winterized it yet, best thing I can tell you to do is drop the gear case so it's touching the ground. Some of that heat from the ground will transfer up to the engine. That'll protect you a little bit, but don't delay too much longer. We're going to be getting cold. And I'm going to 2 to 3 hours of 29 degrees and your PWC will be froze up. And it takes about 8 hours this time of year for an IO to freeze, but that's not a law of IOs or a rule or anything, so get them winterized. Or at the very least, get the blocks drained on the IOs. So, alright, well, I can see the viewer rate is dropping pretty quickly, so we're going to go ahead and end this for tonight, and I will pop back on here for sure next week for our outdoor live show and fishing report. And like I said, I'll be out deer hunting. Anything comes up and I have the time, I will go live from the tree stand. So if you're fishing this week, tight lines. If you're hunting this week, stay safe and shoot straight. And good luck, everybody. And good night.